Hello and welcome to the second episode of Flat Out Helpful, the series where we take a look at bad arguments from flat earthers and we explain why these are wrong. In today's episode, we'll be taking a look at Photoshop. And you all know how much flat earthers love Photoshop. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Yes, it's photoshopped. The classic flat earth saying that in reality doesn't really hold its own weight. The use of this saying by flat earthers, or most people in general, may not even refer to the actual image editing program Photoshop, but is merely a generalization, one which Adobe really doesn't like. As far as the claim that Photoshop goes, there are a lot of issues with it, and most of the time this claim could just be outright dismissed. Generally, this claim will be used to try and ignore images that, if real, would be very bad for the flat earth community, and usually showing any photo of an object from or in space will merit this action, especially a photo of Earth from space. Now, there are instances where NASA and other space agencies specifically use Photoshop or advanced editing of an image, and this is usually explained in the details of an image, and is not hidden or used with malicious intent. One such example will be the blue marble, but that is for an entire episode on its own. For the next part, we're going to be talking a little bit about shaving, and no, not shaving your face, but shaving down the arguments. And we have a very special razor for this kind of shaving called HITCHEN'S razor. HITCHEN'S razor goes as follows. What can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. And this very much applies to many of the photoshopped arguments that flat earthers make. Generally, when a flat earther claims a photo is photoshopped, it is just that, nothing more than a baseless claim with no evidence to back it up. And if you ask them for evidence, a lot of the times they just will outright refuse to give it to you because they don't really have any. And this is because it is merely an automated response generated by some sort of cognitive dissonance they have, where in seeing this photo, they cannot accept, no matter what, that this photo is real. They have to make some sort of excuse, even if it isn't logical, that this photo cannot be real. Asking for evidence in some cases may get you something, but even then, I can guarantee you it isn't evidence, or at least not what they think it is, and is actually a flat earther displaying how little they know about photography, photo editing, or even NASA itself in general. More specific cases will be covered in future videos, as there are quite a few, and the most common of the two being the blue marble argument and a JPEG compression argument. However, there is a surefire way to combat this large umbrella claim. The most effective way to combat baseless claims is to not only point out that they are indeed baseless, but to stay informed. Chances are the person you are up against is merely repeating a jab from another person who knows about as much as they do regarding image manipulation and photography, which usually amounts to nothing. Finding out how the photo was taken, how it was processed, and the date it was taken are all key assets in validating an image. But something that is also very important is that you find the original image and a true source of the image. Finding the original image is especially important, as it contains information you need to take down their antics. Flat earthers will usually try to stop you from locating a source, as finding a source is detrimental to their argument. They would rather have you be blind and stupid. If they refuse to provide a source, try to reverse image search what they gave you, albeit this may be hard when they have written all over the image. One final thing is that photos of Earth and space have been around longer than Photoshop or capable image editing has. The first iteration of Photoshop was not released until 1990. US human spaceflight was at a peak way before that in the 60s, with the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs. Even the Space Shuttle program was around before Photoshop. It would be impossible for these photos to even have been photoshopped, as it did not even exist yet, and most of these photos are film scans. So that concludes this episode of Flat Out Helpful. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. Also, you can now support the channel through my Patreon. I have just launched a Patreon for this channel. So I will leave a link to that down in the description. And we also have our first Patreon, Felix Schlang from the What About It YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support. You're flat out awesome. And to the rest of you guys, have a flat out awesome day.